This is an in-box review of the new Dora Wings Dewotine D.510 in 1/48 scale. This is a new toolkit of this quite unusual looking early war French aircraft. This one, strangely, the markings are, there's two options for a couple of the aircraft that were used in the Spanish Civil War on the Republican side, and also marking options for a Japanese trial aircraft. So if we start with the instructions, here you can see there's a layout of the parts breakdown. We've got some resin parts in here, including resin clear parts and some photo etch parts as well. And it's a pretty basic aircraft, being sort of a 1930s aircraft. They're relatively simple. So there's a few parts coming together to make up the actual cockpit itself, which is then sandwiched between the fuselage halves. Quite a lot of the etch metal pieces are going in here. We've got a resin seat as well, etch metal belts, and rudder pedals as well. I think there are etch metal, as well as some of the mounts that they go on. Then when the fuselage halves together, there's a quite noticeable radiator intake on the underneath of the aircraft, which has louvers at the front as well, so it's quite a prominent feature of the aircraft. And the louvers here are given in photo etch, which I believe is one full bit, so you don't have to put the individual parts in, you just bend them out. So it's the louvers are running down between two rails, and you just bend them out to the appropriate angle. And that completes the underside of the fuselage for this step. Then we start to put on the horizontal stabilisers and the front part of the fuselage here as well, which takes the propeller. And then we've got our first options here. There's two different tops to the engine cowling. Now, the Spanish aircraft, I believe, was re-engined, so that's got a slightly different top cowling, as well as two machine guns mounted in it, whereas the Japanese aircraft doesn't have any machine guns mounted in it, and it's a slightly different shape. So you've got to take your pick there. You've either got the resin insert, which is for the Spanish aircraft, or we've got the plastic piece, which is the more traditional version. Then we've got a couple of wing spars here, which take the two wings. It is a monoplane, so that should give quite a strong join here. So those bits go on together. The wings are two halves, so you join them together and put them on. And then we're on to the underside of the aircraft, and here we've got some more options, whether you have the wheel spats or attached or not. One of the aircraft has just the bare wheels. And also you've got different types of wheels as well. They're resin inserts, so you've got to pick your marking from the start here. A few other small resin parts going on, as well as a few plastic parts that will make up the underside of the wing. We've got some engine pods, and we've got some gun pods under there, as well as a few struts going on to finish off that area. Then, just finally, we've got two options for a free-bladed propeller or a twin-bladed propeller. So you've got to, again, take your pick of which version you're going to do, and then the clear part goes on as well. So looking at the marking options, this is the Spanish marking option. You've got two versions here, well, three versions actually. I believe there are only two aircraft, so you might want to check your references here. Something might be slightly up. I do believe they only had two Dewotines, and then the French ordered the engines to be sent back, so they repurposed them with two engines out of a Tupolev SB2 bomber. So we've got an aluminium, a natural metal finish version here, which is CW16, and then we've got two different types of CW002 and CW15, which is the more traditional Spanish Republican aircraft markings, with the kind of Russian olive drab kind of green colour with the red wingtips and the free coloured rudder there. And then over the other side we've got an all natural metal finish again aircraft, but this is for the Japanese army, with the traditional Japanese markings here. And again, that looks like a very interesting aircraft. Here you can see the two differences with the spats for the wheels, so something just to keep an eye on. Then getting into the kit, if we start with the decals and the extra bits, everything is very well packaged. It's all separately bagged. Even when you've got the etch metal in with the decals, the etch parts are actually separately bagged as well. So in here we've got decals, etch metal, and some film as well for the instrument panel. Everything's looking pretty good here. This etch metal is extremely thin, so it should be very good for scale thickness. Here you can see the louvers that I was talking about. You see the louvers here, so they're joined there and you just fold them out, so that makes it a lot easier. A few other small parts here that go on to make up, to add a lot of detail and enhancement into the aircraft. And then we've got the film here, which is just you paint the backside of that white and then stick it onto the rear of the instrument panel, and then it shows through. So a couple of nice options. Then onto the decals. These are printed by a company called Decograph in Ukraine. I believe the Dora Wings are affiliated in some way. They're using a couple of the AMG moulds. I don't know if this is a release that's due out from AMG of the Dewotine with more traditional markings. So that's something we have to look out for. But this is a nice boxing nonetheless, and you've got the rudder the rudder here with the markings ready to go, so that saves a bit of masking for the Republican versions. Then we've got the markings for the Japanese aircraft, and then mainly sort of stencil and lettering here for the outside of the aircraft. So it all looks very nice, very, very tight carrier film, and I imagine they'd go on very nicely. Then on to the resin parts. Slightly interesting way of doing it with resin clear parts. They're not actually that clear. Well, these are just lights, so I mean it's hard to really tell there, but the windscreen here isn't exactly clear, so that might need a bit of improving with some giving it a dip in some gloss or trying to polish that out. So it's not actually got it's not got scratches or anything on it. It's just a bit cloudy, so I wonder if that would be able to be cleaned up. If it may even just be release fluid for the resin, I'm not sure, so worth checking on that. And then we've got some very delicate lights for the underside there. Then on to the other resin parts. We've got a nice bag here with some with two sets of wheels. So you've got two different inserts here for the wheels, depending on what aircraft you're doing, and they fit into these nicely cast wheels there. I have sort of tested the fit, and it is very tight, so it shouldn't be much of a problem, so it shouldn't need much filler there. We've got a one-piece seat there cast, which again is very nice. It's a good addition to get this in a kit. So everything's pretty much in the box with this one, so there's nothing needed to add or improve. The machine guns, a little bit basic, not fantastic, and certainly you'd want to change the ends, I think, just with some brass, or maybe hollow them out because they're just kind of rounded off. They look a bit odd. That's probably the lowest point of all of this resin, the two guns there. Then we've got some exhausts which are nice and hollowed out, so they should add a bit of enhancement. And then we've got the top here for the Spanish version, which is just slightly different, as I mentioned before, to take the machine guns. Then on to the kit parts. They're all bagged separately, a bundle of screws all in one bag, two fuselage halves there, nice recessed detail with good panel lines all the way through, and a few small areas of rivet detail. The inside has a little bit of detail on the inside of the fuselage halves there for the cockpit. Everything's looking pretty good. It is kind of more along the lines of a short run kit, so we don't have locating pins or anything like that. None of that should be much of a worry if you're attempting this kit. Then we've got a few other small parts. Then we've got a few other parts here, mainly dealing with the struts for the undercarriage and the horizontal stabilizers. Here is the big prominent radiator that I mentioned at the front of the aircraft, so that's in two halves. That looks pretty good. And then we've got the fuel tank there that sits behind it. Then we've got propellers, so we've got the single, well, the two-bladed propeller or the three-bladed propeller, as well as the wheel spats and all the accompanying parts to that. A little bit of flash here and there, but generally everything's looking pretty good. Nice and sharp moulding on most of it, and the recessed panel lines continue all the way through. And then we've got the last two sprues, which are the two wings, and these have quite prominent recessed panel lines all the way across them, which is a nice feature of this aircraft, and they're captured very nicely here as well. No large areas for ejector pin marks or anything like that, so these should go together with the minimal amount of cleanup, and everything looks pretty good there. So the plastic parts shouldn't prove much of a problem at all. It is just a butt join, and you've got the wing spar that then slots through the middle of it, so we want to make sure that would be a good join when we come to putting the wings on. So it's just something to keep an eye on. So that is the Dora Wings Dewotine D.510 in 1/48 scale. Unusual choice for a release, but certainly a welcome release, especially for me. It's a very unusual aircraft, and it's not really catered for very well in 1/48. There's been a couple of releases in the past, but they're very short run and long gone now, so very difficult to get hold of. So that's a very welcome release from Dora Wings. So hopefully you enjoyed that inbox review, and if you like what you see, have a look on the rest of the channel. There's many inbox reviews and kit builds all the way through it, and give the video a like. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.